Whoa, whoa, whoa. So I'm still a little whoa, 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 but I think in time it'll get better.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It's just that like transitionary phase too. I feel like that's always shaky.
Right.
But
And
maybe you learning your human design type will help you in your transition.
thanks, Sasha. All right, so tell us a little bit about this. Are you going to
So, okay,
share? Let me
I
know if
did
you
some
share.
research before the podcast because I was like, I can't just show up and not know anything, right? Um, but there's like a ton of stuff, like way more than I
All
thought.
right, start with the basics. Let's just do the
So the
four.
basics are, I guess I'll share my screen to show you what it even looks like first,
Mm-hmm.
before Kat tries to discover hers. So is that full screen? Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So this is what it looks like, and it does look different depending on the page you use to find out what your chart is. So
This is
I follow
Sasha's.
this Instagram called my.humandesign if you want to check her out. She has like a ton of resources, but I use hers to find out mine. There are others that are a little more detailed, I think, but this one is good as just like an overview. But basically, there's these centers here, and there's 9 of those, and we'll get into what each of those 9 are. You can have either each of these centers colored in or not colored in. So here they're peach or white. And basically, if they're colored in, that means they're defined centers. And if they're not colored in, that means they're undefined centers. And then the numbers on the left and right are personality and design. And basically, the way that human design is different from astrology is it's not just your time and place of birth. It also calculates like where your soul was 88 days prior to when you were actually born.
Why
So
88 days?
I don't know, actually. It's a good, I want to dive into this like way further. So there might be like a part 2 to this because I'm like
Huh.
super intrigued now. But yeah, so that's how they come up with those columns on the left and right. One is based on the time and place of birth, the other one's based on the 88 days prior. So it's intense. There's like a whole other thing too, but that's the basics. I did not get into the numbers and all that stuff because I mostly just want to focus on the different types of human design. There's 4 different types, kind of 5. And I feel like that is what has helped me the most in just knowing how I operate in a lot of different contexts. And I feel like you can also just learn a lot about yourself just from knowing your design type. So,
Can I just say really quick that
yeah.
I left Sasha a voice text on my way home saying that she should listen to her gut because she's usually her instincts are pretty strong. And it literally says right here, authority, the way you make decisions.
Yeah.
Listen
No, it's
to your
insane.
gut.
And that's why I guess I looked into astrology first, which I'm like a sun in Cancer, my moon is in Aries, and then my rising is Pisces. Of course, there's a ton of other details to that. But like when I learned that about myself, I was like, oh, okay, now I kind of understand myself a little more. But I feel like when I found out my design type and kind of dug into this a little further, it's now just how I operate, and I feel more like comfortable with how I operate. Whereas before, I was kind of judging myself, like, oh, I never
Mm.
stick to anything, or oh, like, I don't commit, or whatever. I literally have a fortune cookie thing in my dashboard of my
I
car
do not
that
know
just
this.
says, it just says, don't put all your eggs in one basket or something. And when I got it like years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, that's how I live my life. So I feel like it relates a lot to this. So hopefully when you find out yours, you'll see like patterns and
I'm gonna
things.
put that on your tombstone
Please do.
if
Please
you
do.
if you die first.
Yeah, my boyfriend did not like that one, but I was like, oh no, that's perfect. um,
So interesting. So why do you like this over astrological things or maybe even enneagrams? Like why do you like this one more?
I think the accuracy of it is creepy, and just, I mean, all these centers, which again we'll get into, define like every part of your life and like your functions, your bodily functions, how you should eat, how you should sleep, like how you should study, how you should make moves. Like it just defines like everything about how you are. And I feel like I haven't seen anything else that goes into as much depth as this and is
Mm-hmm.
also pretty accurate. I feel like astrology goes into a lot of depth, but it doesn't show you the path, like show you how you should maneuver through. It just says, okay, well, this is how you are, deal with it. But
So
I
it's
feel like
very
this,
applicable to making decisions and
yeah.
navigating your life rather than just knowing your personality
Yeah. And like,
and
for
identifying
example,
with it.
on the right side, it says, where did that go? Oh, strategy. And it says responding. Like every design type has a different strategy of how they maneuver through life. So for manifesting generators, it's responding. Um, and the sacral part too, listening to your gut. And then also this, like the sign that shows you that you're living your design is like when you feel satisfaction. But your not self theme is like frustration. So anytime you feel frustration as a manifesting generator, it's usually just a sign that that's not what you're supposed to be working on or doing.
Mm.
Or maybe you're not spending enough time, responding and like moving forward in life like you're supposed to. So it's like a good way to kind of self check yourself and just be like, oh no, wait, I actually operate best this way, even though I may have been raised this way, or even though my friends are doing it this way. Like, you got to know how you are supposed to do it. And I feel like that's where this like is a game changer.
So if anyone is looking for another, sometimes you're like, oh, astrology doesn't sit with me or whatever, Enneagrams don't sit with me. And if you're looking for something, this is an option also. Um,
Yeah.
and for anyone who's rolling their eyes at it, I mean, you're sitting at home like, who am I?
It's, yeah.
And
It's,
if you are just joking about that, this is also an option for you.
yeah.
Um,
And I guess while I have my thing open, I'll just go to this one because I'll just say like what the manifesting generator is, or should we wait on that?
well, do you want me to do mine? Is it long? Is it like 20 minutes or something?
No, it takes like 3 seconds.
Okay, let's do it. I'll do mine. Let me share
Okay.
my screen. Okay, so Cat Leia is gonna get out of this. I believe this should already be showing perfect, except on my Zoom, I need to share screen really quick here. Let's share
Yeah.
our screen. Boom.
I see
Okay,
the full screen. Yeah.
perfect. So we just fill in our details here. Do I have to put in? Okay.
Yeah. And I think the month, oh, yeah, there's a drop down. I did like a couple websites, so I can't remember.
Time I was born, 4:56 p.m. So do I put like 16?
16. Yeah.
Okay. Enter a state, city, or town name. Miami.
Yeah. Did that work?
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. Miami, Florida. I think you have to click it.
Okay. Do you see my screen share, Sasha?
Yes.
Okay. So who am I?
Oh, you're a generator. I knew it.
The life force. People who are here to lift the energy of the world.
Yes, that is you.
That's hilarious that she also just said that before. Before this,
Yeah.
right before we did this. So, okay, responding. So can you tell me more about strategy responding? What does that mean? How do I apply that in my business life?
Okay, I'm gonna go to this website and I can link it to after we're done talking because I think it's super helpful. This website's like super intense, but it does go over each of the different types. So there's basically
Wait, let me know if you want to share it at any point. Okay, sorry.
no, we'll use yours now just to kind of like get acquainted with how they look and stuff. But there's 4 types, okay? So there's manifestors, generators, reflectors, and projectors. So you can also be a manifesting generator, which is where you have elements of both in your birth chart. So I guess there's technically 5 types, or like it's a subtype, but you're still considered a generator even if you're a manifesting generator. So yeah, the main components that you can kind of see in the charts immediately is like strategy and authority, and that's like mostly what this is from. And that's just how you like understand how to live a fulfilling life that isn't like full of resilience, because you're operating in your best way. So you're just going to flow through life instead of like hitting all these roadblocks, because you might be doing it how your friend does it or how you were raised, and it's not for you. So let me go to
I want to put Sasha is next to mine.
So I think part of how they decide if you're a generator or not is because you have a defined sacral center, which is that one that cat has in the center, towards the bottom. Um, and basically, again, if it's defined or undefined, defined is colored in, and then white is undefined. So that just means that those areas that are undefined are where you might be just a little more flexible and a little less rigid. Whereas the
Mm.
ones that are colored in are going to be like defined. Like that might be like where you ground from, or like, parts of you that other people can't, change too easily. Whereas the other parts that are white and undefined are maybe just aspects of your personality or yourself throughout your life that are a little more malleable or flexible or adaptable, or just not as consistent. So in terms of like Kat's chart, just because we're looking at it, the top triangle is the head. The second
Okay.
one is the ajna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever.
Ajna.
Yeah.
Ideas.
The third is the throat. And then the one below that is G, which is like the liver blood kind of component. And then the one off to the right, that little triangle, is the heart/ego. And then the one in the center in the middle is the sacral.
Ooh, desires.
And then the
Ooh.
one to the left is spleen. The one over to the right is the solar plexus. And then the one at the bottom is the root. So if you're a generator, you typically have the bottom ones defined. And I think projectors have like a couple of those kind of undefined ones. So it could just be like where you get your source from in yourself is like through those like aspects of your personality. But if you have like the undefined thoughts, then that's where you could just be a little more flexible or like not as rigid, which I think makes sense in how Kat and I view things. Because I have it undefined as well, and I feel like it allows us to be open-minded, I think, because we're not like super rigid in how we think or view things. We're kind of like understanding. This website like defines it as like consistent versus inconsistent or not consistent, but I feel like it makes more sense to just view it as like flexibility versus rigidity
What
in
is
like
profile 5/1 or profile 3/5?
the numbers I did not get into.
Okay.
I did for myself. Like when I first looked up my chart, I just Googled like every aspect of what this one shows. And at the time I knew because it was fresh, but obviously now with board exams, it's not fresh. But yeah, so that profile part though, I think is another indicator that's like a little more specific to your chart. Whereas like manifesting generator or reflector or projector, those are all very broad. But you can get into like a lot more details, especially with that incarnation cross. That also means like something entirely
different.
But again, there's like just so much to all of this that it's like you can't just fit it into one podcast. But
We have the same sign, the sign that shows you that you're living your design.
oh yeah,
Satisfaction and frustration is the not self theme.
see what digestion buzzing. I wanted to look into that because
What's
I wonder if that
buzzing?
relates to your last bite complex.
Oh my gosh, I have terrible last bite complex. Your strongest sense, touch. Your strongest sense, feeling. Ooh, feeling.
Yeah, mine was touch, and then oh shit, I just went back by accident.
That's so funny that it says feeling because I almost think sometimes I'm insensitive because I just make decisions so quickly. But I think it's because I feel it so quickly and I already know.
Yeah, yeah.
So it almost seems like I don't care, but I just already know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I think, I mean, does yours say, what does your authority say? Emotional solar plexus. Interesting.
Based on how something makes you feel.
Okay, so that's kind of similar to like listening to your gut in my eyes. But yeah,
Where's your...
mine is the
Oh.
listening to your gut, which I feel like they're similar in that sense.
I don't know, a little bit, because I feel like sacral is a little more like, or sacral, desires. That's the desires, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if you want something or you don't want something, but something, how something makes you feel could be like, this hurt me, or this makes me happy. I feel like it's
Right.
a little different in that way, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But very
And
similar,
then
yeah.
I did want to go over like this different centers.
Where's that?
And also, like, when you look at Kat's chart, there's like lines that connect each of the centers and kind of like move in and out. And this website does it a little different from the other website I was looking at, because the other website has like red or black, and then some of the bars are like dashed, and that means like something entirely different. But basically, if you have like the same color from one end to the next, like from one center to the next, that's like more defined. And then if it's like a little broken, then it's not as defined. Again, I'm not going into that level of it because that's a whole other thing.